Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Scotiabank Charity Challenge Presents Home Stretch Speaker Series. My name is Beth Pillar. I'm the Manager of Community Sponsorships at Scotiabank, and it is my absolute pleasure today to introduce you to my amazing Scotiabank Marathon race directors. Today, we're going to be chatting about Canadian marathons in 2020 and how COVID-19 has changed the traditional race weekends this year. Joining me today is Charlotte Brooks, the race director of the Banque Scotia 21K de Montreal and the Scotiabank Toronto Waterfront Marathon. We also have Sherry Roberts, the race director of the Scotiabank Blue Nose Marathon, Ian Fraser, the race director of the Scotiabank Ottawa Marathon, Kirsten Fleming, the race director of the Scotiabank Calgary Marathon, and Ryan Chillibeck, the race director of the Scotiabank Vancouver Half Marathon. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. As we know, this year has been like no other for the traditional road race, and all of our beloved Scotia marathons went virtual this year. I'm hoping you each can speak a little bit about virtual races, what that means for those who might not be familiar with the virtual race, and how your communities have adapted their training and running and habits in the virtual space. So Charlotte, maybe you can kick us off how your race communities have handled the virtual race this year.
Wow, thanks, Beth. I guess for our community, we've chatted before, Kristen mentioned it as well in Calgary, we've been seeing people get really excited about new options in virtual. So we've all been trying to get really creative, doing some fun things that aren't necessarily possible in real life. So some stuff with our Toronto race, we added a 4-person marathon relay and all the medals that you get all joined together to form one big piece. We've added the whole shebang, which I'll be doing. Maybe I'm less excited about that. So it's a marathon, half, 10K and 5K that you have to complete in the month of October. So I think people are getting excited about the new things and the different things about virtual that we wouldn't be able to do in person.
Awesome. Our Vancouver team actually really adapted to virtual quite quickly. Ryan, did you maybe want to talk about some of the positive things that you heard from your race community with the switch to virtual?
Yeah, I think when we switched over, we were fortunate enough to be in that little sweet spot where we hadn't, invested a lot of the money that we normally would into the race, and we were able to pivot it and just focus more on the experience of the virtual race rather than having to switch from the physical to the virtual. It was really great. We started connecting with different run crews out here and getting some smaller sponsors on board that we could add some added value to these smaller events, like go and pick up your package here and you get this, beer from a local company, or, outside of the local market, we were able to just really, we had a really, really strong marketing, like the branding on the shirts and the medal this year. And I think that just really helped to kind of establish that barrier-free or border-free racing. People in the States or internationally could come and run a race in Vancouver and get the shirt and the swag rather than having to travel into the city, which is kind of tough to do in the summer months in Vancouver. It can be a little bit pricey. So they were able to go out and run their own races and in their smaller communities. So it was amazing to see how many people we had from rural Saskatchewan or from the East Coast registering for our races in Vancouver this year.
Yeah, awesome. And Kirsten, I know out in Calgary, you guys did kind of a big, fun outdoor race bag pickup at your head office that was socially distanced. Did you maybe want to talk a little bit about how that initiative went? It was awesome.
It's happening right now. I'm in my office and someone just pulled up. So, nothing will ever replace finish line high fives and hugs, right? But we certainly wanted to make sure that we were having an experience and creating an experience for our participants where we, could have a little fun, get creative, and have some interactions, even if they were socially distant. So early on, we decided to save a few bucks and also create that package pickup feel. We do curbside pickup. So just like you would call when you show up at Superstore to grab your groceries, you call, you say what stall you're in, and we come and bring you out your package. So obviously that's only for our Calgary participants. People had the option to choose to have things mailed out if that's what they prefer. But the pickup rate for curbside has been incredible. It's going all the way until September 27th. We do it 3 days every 2 weeks. And every single time we put on our Scotiabank Spotify playlist and our big arch, and it's outside our our office. And we actually did a little bit of a contest on social media and had some of our influencers and ambassadors in our running community do signage for the windows. We have big windows all over our office. So when people pull up, they get to see a fun sign.
Love it.
Honk if you're ready to PR, run the city. And it's been incredible because one of the touch points we didn't expect is they come and grab their package and then they put on social media, like at curbside pickup, and it ends up being on social media. And then they get home, they open their bag, their Scotiabank drawstring bag, and they put out their bib, and we call them bibs on bed pictures. So there's all these like nice unintentional results that have come from that have been great. And also just the opportunity to connect, socially distanced, of course, in our parking lot with our runners and hearing how their virtual season is going and how they did in the race and encouraging them to fundraise. That's been really lovely.
Awesome. It's been so fun to see what everyone's been doing on social media. Ian, you've had one of the longest windows of time that your running community can run their virtual race. Do you maybe want to talk a little bit about how things have been going? You've had a ton of people still sign up from the traditional first in May or beginning of May when you would have had your race to still, people can still sign up and participate in any of the Tamarack Ottawa race weekend distances.
Yeah, thanks, Beth. It was really interesting because we had this really long window and we really contemplated whether that was the right thing to do. It kind of came out of this and people converging on our regular race course to run their virtual event on the weekend that it was supposed to be. And we thought, oh no, this is going to be awful. But then we kind of looked at it as this way to engage people to support the charity challenge, which is a huge part of the fabric of our community. So it gave this nice elongated window. It gave us a chance to, but it also gave us a chance to kind of hear the kinds of stories that you would never hear in a short window or a day-long race. So all of these families that are running together, that are engaging with other families, that are doing the run as a street, for example. We had a whole bunch of streets that just decided they were going to do their virtual event on the same weekend. And so all these little stories that you would never hear around an event that takes place in 2 days, you get a chance to share them, to hear them. And I've learned so much about our participant base, about who our participants are, where they come from in the city, where they come from outside of the city. It's been really heartwarming to see the growth and the further sort of solidification of our community around this event. It's just been absolutely heartwarming.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Sherry, you've actually kind of had two events in one under Scotiabank Blue Nose this year, because you kind of kicked things off early and did a run over the long weekend in May, the Victoria Day long weekend, which was typically your scheduled race weekend, and you've now pushed your virtual time frame for your runners to November. So do you maybe want to talk a little bit about your decision to kick off the season with a virtual race that would have been on race weekend and then continue with the rest of the distances and all the participants later on in the fall? Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you.
No worries.
Started to talk and didn't realize. Yeah, so early on when we knew we were going to postpone the event to November, we still wanted to do something around the Victoria Day weekend. It has been our home for 16 of the 17 years. We did move last year with Halifax hosting the Memorial Cup. So we still wanted to, do something around Victoria Day weekend. We didn't want to necessarily call it Scotiabank Blue Nose Marathon because we didn't want to take from the November event, but we normally kick off the running season here in Atlantic Canada. We are the biggest race. So we still wanted to celebrate that and encourage people to get out and be active. And although we couldn't be together on Victoria Day weekend, as we normally are, thousands of people on the streets, we still could be together in our own communities. So we had lots of engagement. It was really warming. We encourage people to create their own finish line and their cheer signs and to wear their old Blue Nose shirts. So we have lots of, great slogans. So it was really great to see all the social media activity and people really creative with their finish lines. One participant was using a lobster as a pacer. So it was really neat to see people embracing it in their own creativity. So we had lots of fun, and we called that the Blue Nose Distance Run. So that was, you know, really as we were starting to move into COVID and navigate this. So we did that. We had a lot of fun with that, and now we're looking towards the virtual run in November. So when we did the distance run, they were able to download things. They were able to get a bib and a digital medal and download these, and Facebook frames and filters. But now when we move to the virtual run in November, they will get to earn their medal that we've been waiting since May to give them. So they will get those and their participant shirt. We're going to reveal that on Thursday. Or actually it will be revealed by the time this airs. So we're looking forward to, you know, the fun things that we can do in November with the virtual run with the Scotiabank Blue Nose Marathon.
Awesome. Yeah, so everyone definitely go check out the Blue Nose social feeds to see that big t-shirt reveal. You've all kind of touched on it a little bit, how it's been great to see communities coming out and running together, and there seems to be a bunch of new people who have taken up running. I've noticed during kind of being on lockdown over the spring and things, with gyms and traditional fitness classes being closed and put on hold, a lot of people have picked up running as a way to be socially distant and active. Ian, did you maybe want to talk a little bit about any tips or tricks you have for people who are new to running, who might not have participated in a traditional road race before, to kind of get those new runners signed up for one of our 6 Scotia Marathons for 2021?
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. So, you know, the 3 people that I saw running in front of my house with cutoffs on, I knew that they were new runners, right? You know, not traditional running apparel, not the real kind of footwear that most of us would wear. So I think, you know, reaching out and providing some kind of, you know, just some basic tips around the stuff that you should wear, how you buy running shoes, what clothing you use, keeping it really simple. You know, fundamentally running is such a simple thing to do. And like a lot of things in life, we try to overcomplicate stuff. Running has always been what we were really born to do. So I think just trying to keep it really simple, giving them information about events that they could sign up for, coaching programs. We use Run Coach as part of what we do for Scotiabank Ottawa Marathon, and, you know, getting people engaged with information about how they can get good training, apparel, footwear. That stuff's really important because they are new. A lot of these people, you know, may have been regular patrons of a gym, but now they can't go to their gym, so they've taken up running, and it's just so new. So we have to look at them with sort of kind eyes, and with a community that's open and welcoming, that says, hey, you know, we know you don't know everything about our sport, but we're super happy to help you do that. So I think like a lot of things, sometimes we get a bit intimidated when there's something new, and I think from our standpoint, we're trying to make that fun, open, not intimidating. And, you know, we really believe that what we put on every spring is about participation. It's about coming out and having fun. It's about sharing community, and it just needs to be simple.
Yeah, definitely. Charlotte, I think you had a similar type of tip for all the new runners out there, shoes specifically, how important that is when you're a new runner and new to running and timing yourself for a 5K, a 10K, 21, 42. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I was actually going to say, you can also pick a super flat route in virtual. So you can pick the weather. That is something on race day we don't get to pick. You can pick the route. You can pick the time. So I think the biggest bit of feedback we always get every year in our post-race surveys about race day was something about the weather. Can we make it better? Because that's something that we can't change. Start times, locations. So that's the really nice thing about virtual. So all the virtual races I've been doing, I've had moments where it's pouring rain outside and I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow. No big deal. So there's some great things there. And we have a race in High Park in Toronto, usually in April. That thing is very hilly and soul crusher. Yep. So I decided that I wasn't going to run that route for my virtual, and I ran a downhill route. So anyways, that would be my tips, is to pick a fun route and the time and whether that works best for you. And also go to your local retailer and make sure you're wearing the right shoes, because that is very important.
Definitely. This year has been a little different for our beloved Scotiabank Charity Challenge program. With that being said, though, we still have 518 charities participating nationally across all of your races. Kirsten, you had a pretty neat Guinness World Record Charity Challenge related story I was hoping you could maybe share with everyone on the call here.
Yeah, so our Scotiabank Calgary Marathon race weekend would have been May 31. And of course, after it would have been my 9th being involved. So I got up really early and decided I was going to bolt around town and take in as much as I could, because I knew there were lots of people who were running their own routes on that day. And the group that I probably started about 8 different people's races, just little individual races, including the Mito Canada team. And Mito Canada actually came up with a really ingenious, activation to fundraise, and it blew away all of our expectations. They started a campaign a couple of weeks before and let people know that they would be running on the day and broadcasting live. So they had somebody centrally using Zoom, and then they were throwing to them on their phones and checking in with them. And there were 6 people running, including Blaine Penny, who's one of your guest speakers. And the record, actually, instead of it being speed or costume based, was how much money can you raise while you're running a marathon. So actually speed is against you. You want to be slow and drag that out. And their hope was to raise somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think, $20,000 they thought would be success. And they raised, oh gosh, was it 40? Oh no, it was 70. The winner actually was Graham Sherman. He owns a brewery, so he was definitely bribing his supporters with free beer, but he raised $37,000 during his 5-hour marathon, which he did not train for. So it was amazing, and it was a really unique way for us to be able to work with Guinness World Records, especially because this year we had formed a partnership, much like what you have at Toronto Marathon, and they were going to be on site this year. So we look forward to seeing them in 2021 in person, but it was great to work with them on this unique Guinness World Record, and we really hope that we'll be able to bring that back and maybe make it a little bit of a Scotiabank challenge, pass that record around the country over the next couple of years.
Yes, I would love that. We got to get that going for sure. So Sherry, wondering, can you maybe, anyone who's new to the charity challenge, where's the best way to find info on how to sign up for your race or some of the other races, and where to find fundraising tips? Do you have anything you can share with our viewers on where they can find that info?
Yeah, for sure. So for Scotiabank Blue Nose Marathon, people that want to learn about the Charity Challenge program, they can go to our website, blueноsemarathon.com. And there's a whole section there on the Charity Challenge program. I'm assuming the other marathon properties have a similar page dedicated to the Scotiabank Charity Challenge. So they can learn information there about participating as an individual, participating as a team, donating, collecting donations. So there's all kinds of information there. Fundraising tips, there's so many. You know, the biggest one is to ask people, like to reach out to your closest network, your family and friends. They are most likely to support you. You know, I don't consider myself a fundraiser, but I've easily been able to achieve, you know, a goal of 500 by reaching out to family and friends. So starting there and getting creative, I think, you know, that's one of the great things about the Charity Challenge program. And, you know, when we talk about the communities and the stories that, you know, Ian and Kirsten were referring to, they're so creative and they come up with their, you know, these amazing ways. So, you know, rather than us, you know, we can provide them with some tips, but I think it's really, you know, tap into that creativity and, you know, what skills and resources do you have? Because they do have a lot, and we've seen so much creativity over the years that contributes to their success of fundraising dollars.
Awesome, thank you.
But if they are looking for help, we can definitely help them. But I would say reach out to family and friends and get creative with it.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm just conscious of our time here since we have so many other sessions taking place later today. So I just wanted to thank all of you for joining me today. Each of our charities, each of the 518 have their own booth in our virtual village. Each of our 6 races have their own booths in their virtual village, where you can head to there. You can find all of the information to sign up for a distance across the country. Even if you're in Halifax, you can run in Ottawa, you can run in Toronto, you can run in Vancouver. So we encourage you to maybe give yourself a little goal of trying to run one in every single province. That would be awesome. All the information you need are in each of those virtual booths. Thank you so much to all of my speakers. You guys have been amazing. It's nice to hang out with you virtually since I wasn't able to see you all in person. Race weekends, really miss hanging out with our amazing marathon families. So thank you all for taking the time to be here with me today and sharing all of the wonderful things you've done in a virtual space for all of our Scotiabank running communities. So thank you so much again. There are a ton of events happening for the rest of the weekend, so definitely check out the event schedule and tune in.